Lajamanu, Northern Territory, Northern Territory, Northern Territory. Lajamanu, formerly known as Hooker Creek Native Settlement, or just Hooker Creek, is a small town of the Northern Territory of Australia. It is located around 560 km 350 mi from Katherine and approximately 890 km 550 mi from Darwin. At the 2016 Australian census, Lajamanu had a population of 606, of whom 89.3% are of Aboriginal and / or Torres Strait Islander origin, chiefly Warlpiri people. History. Lajamanu was established in 1949 on the site of the former Hooker Creek Station. The government moved Warlpiri people from Yuenjumu, only succeeding on the fourth attempt, after people had simply walked back their own communities on the first 3 attempts. In the 1950s it was known as the Hooker Creek Native Settlement. There was a village council in the 1960s, possibly earlier. In 1970, a council of 12 men was elected, including Maurice Juparala Luther, who had been taken to Hooker Creek from Yuenjumu in 1958. In 1976, he was appointed to a committee of 4 people to inquire into the role of the National Aboriginal Consultative Committee. After the Gurindji strike and handover of Wattie Creek to the Gurindji people by Prime Minister Go Lam, Luther was an important figure in negotiations to allow the Warlpiri people to continue living at Lajamanu, the Gurindji being the traditional owners of the area. He also played a large part in the decision to rename the place Lajamanu, which is derived from a nearby Gurindji place name. In November 2021, the community was put into lockdown by the Northern Territory government as a wave of infections hit the Katherine region during the COVID-19 pandemic in Australia. The first COVID-19 case in Lajamanu was recorded on 1 December, a day after the lockdown orders were changed to that of a lockout. Location and access. Lajamanu is located around 560 km 350 mi southwest of Katherine and approximately 890 km 550 mi from Darwin. The nearest community is Daguragu, about 110 km 68 mi away. Lajamanu is difficult to access, mainly due to the distance from major cities and towns. Road access is via the Victoria Highway, turning off after 120 km 75 mi onto the Bunteen Highway for a further 323 km 201 mi, and then 104 to Lajamanu, a dirt but well-formed road. Hooker Creek Airport has a sealed airstrip and is serviced by chartered flights, the RAF and the Flying Doctor service. Government. The town is a strongly traditional community and is governed by the Central Land Council Region 3, Northwest, as well as the Lajamanu Kurdiji Group, a group of senior men and women of the community who promote respect for Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal law and justice within their community. Kurdiji is a Warlpiri word for shield, with the connotations of protecting or warding off. The Lajamanu Council was the first community government council established in the Northern Territory in 1980. It is a strongly traditional Warlpiri community, and the council follows the lead of the local People's Council. It is a dry alcohol-free community. Demographics. At the 2016 Australian census, there were 606 people in Lajamanu, of whom 89.3% are Indigenous, mainly Warlpiri. This represents a drop in the population since 2006, when there were 669 people. Language. The majority of Lajamanu residents have Warlpiri as their main heritage language. Lajamanu School was a Warlpiri English bilingual school from 1982 until 2008, when the Northern Territory government introduced a policy banning Warlpiri language instruction for the first 4 hours. This contributed to a significant drop in attendance at Lajamanu School after 2009. It has been reported that young people now speak light Warlpiri as a first language. Most official business and education is delivered in English. Geography and climate. Lajamanu is located close to the center of Australia, which has a hot, dry climate. In February 2010, hundreds of live spangled perch rained down upon the town on 2 successive days. A tornado is believed to have sucked up the fish, which were then frozen at high altitudes and thawed as they fell, which might have been hundreds of kilometers from their origin. Art. Warlpiri people have a long history of creating art on wooden artifacts, the body, the ground, and rocks. Warlpiri art was used for ceremonial and teaching purposes, a feature of art in Lajamanu. Lajamanu artists began using canvas and acrylic paint in 1986 following a traditional paintings course held in the community. Today, the artists in Lajamanu continue to paint using canvas and acrylic paint at the community's Warlpiri Art Gallery. The gallery is a Warlpiri corporation and is governed by an entirely Warlpiri board. Artists Peggy Rockman Naplejarry, Lily Nungaray Uringali Jura Hargraves, Rosie Marnku Naparala Tasman, and Molly Naparala Tasman have all painted at the gallery. Other contemporary Indigenous Australian artists from the Lajamanu region include Sheila Brown Naplejarry and Peggy Rockman Naplejarry. Lajamanu artists have been finalists in the Telstra National Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Art Awards in 2008, 2009, 2010, and 2011. Notable people. Morris Juparala Luther c. 1945–1985, see above in 2010, Warlpiri elders in Lajamanu including Bill Bunter, Sharon Anderson, and Martin Johnson participated in an ABC TV documentary Bush Law about the relationship between traditional Warlpiri law and the mainstream Australian justice system. Steve Jampagin Patrick, also known as Wanta Jampagin Papawu Kurlpurlernu, is an educator and has also been involved in the Milpiri Festival and collaborations with Trax Dance Company. In 2008, Patrick co-authored a research paper, Angora Curlew, A Way of Working with Warlpiri People. Wanta worked as an Australian Research Council-funded research fellow at the Australian National University from 2012 to 2014. In 2013, Wanta Jampagin wrote and directed the television documentary Milpiri, Winds of Change. The film chronicles Wanta and the Lajamanu elders' vision for making Warlpiri culture relevant to the contemporary world. The film premiered on NIT in November 2013 and has been available on SBS On Demand.